This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, and I'd like to call to order the City of Haslet Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. Today's date is Tuesday, September 30th, 2025. The time is 6:30 p.m., and we do have a quorum present. We're going to begin with some administration of our oaths of office. We have place 1, Matthew Hayes, place 3, Greg Kadesch, place 5, Chuck Tackett, and place 7, who is new, is an alternate, Donell Bolton. Thank you very much for being here. So we'll begin with our oaths of office.
If you have your statement and oath in front of you, if you'd please rise. We'll do the statement first. I'll get it started and y'all will read along. So I state your name.
I, Greg Kadesch, solemnly swear or affirm that I have not directly or indirectly paid, offered, promised to pay, contributed, or promised to contribute any money or thing of value, or promised any public office or employment, or to secure my appointment or confirmation thereof. So help me God.
Thank you. If you flip it over, you'll see your oath. Same thing.
I, Greg Kadesch, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of Commissioner, Place 3, of the Planning and Zoning Commission, City of Haslet, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state, so help me God.
Beautiful. If you don't have a pen to sign it, I have one. We can sign it after.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for continuing to serve the community, gentlemen. I appreciate you being here. All right, moving on. We got some items of community interest. So National Night Out, we'll say this even though there's not an audience tonight, is going to be on Tuesday, October 7th, and that's from 6 to 8 p.m. in the Haslet Community Park. And you can go to National Night Out to find more about that activity. And then there's the general and special election that's going to take place on November 4th, and early voting is going to begin on Monday, October 20th, and will end on Friday, October 31st. And you can find out locations by going to Tarrant County Elections to find out those early voting locations. And then lastly, we're already talking about Christmas. Christmas in the Park is going to be held on Saturday, December 6th, and that is from 3 to 7 at the Haslet Community Park. Our next agenda item is a review and approval, a recommendation for approval, our minutes from our regular meeting that was held on August 26th. If there's no discussion, is there a motion to approve as written?
I'll make a motion that we approve it as submitted.
Okay, there's a motion to approve as written. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion second, all in favor? Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Moving on, agenda items. We're going to pass over agenda item 6. That's just a status report. If you have an interest in following up on anything in there, you can always reach out to the city staff. We won't discuss that this evening. So moving on, agenda item 7A, conduct a public hearing for zoning on land owned by Freeman Toyota Group, being a tract of land situated on the Joel M. Lilly Survey Abstract number 979 and the Hopkins-Davidson Survey Abstract number 437, which is approximately 38.566 acre tract of land located in Tarrant County and is generally located on the east side of Harmon Road and the west side of I-35W, south frontage roads. We're going to begin with a staff presentation.
Chairman and members of the board, I wanted just to make a few comments, and the applicant is in the audience tonight, so he'll probably want to have a chance to speak at the public hearing. But this is, like you mentioned, a 38-acre tract of land that's in the corridor east of Harmon Road and west of I-35W. And this whole area in our master land use plan is identified as commercial. And the proposed use is a use that is allowed in that corridor, or in the GC zoning, which if we would go with straight zoning, that's what it would be. However, they need to have a few little things changed from the ordinance, and that has to do with the landscaping, and that has to do with the Freeman Toyota did not want to have any trees or landscaping or things in in the area where the new cars are being, sold and displayed for various reasons. One's from visibility, from 35, and then another one is for animals or anything else that perching on the trees, sitting above above the cars and actually damaging them in ways. And if we could go to the very last slide in this, all the slides. And as part of this PD, there's several different exhibits that have been included. One of them is a site plan. Yeah, just go down to the last one. And scroll down just a little bit. Keep on going. A little bit further, a little bit further. There you go. Well, that's the site. I hope I wrote site big enough so everybody can read that. But you can see that this is shown on the master land use plan, and the red signifies commercial. There is a blank spot that's just to the north of it, and that area has been taken out of the extraterritorial jurisdiction, so we have no land use control over it or plating control. And then if you go further north, you see more commercial. But I just wanted to let you know that their request is in keeping with the master land use plan. Having said that, this is a planned development, and they are requesting several things in the landscaping area. And if we can go to the landscaping plan, which you can go to yeah, right there. Just scroll down just a little bit more. The other direction. I should say scroll up. Okay, stop right there. Oop. No, we missed a slide there. Go on down. Go down. There, stop right there. They normally would have a bunch of hedges, low hedges in front of their parking lot, but they've taken all those and put them at the entrance. And so you can see there's a massive amount of hedges and small bushes that are up on the top. And they did that instead of having them in front of their parking lot where the vehicles would be displayed in the front. Also, those areas that are in the middle of it are rocks instead of landscaping or materials other than a hard surface. And I just wanted to point that out. Those are basically the two items that have changed from the landscape plan, and that's the reason why it's a planned development ordinance. Having said that, I'll answer any questions that you might have at this time.
We'll give the applicant a chance to speak, and then we'll open up the public hearing. If you would like to contribute anything to the presentation, you're certainly welcome to do so at this time.
You ready for me?
Yeah, just come up to, is there a microphone up there for him? There is, okay. If you could just state your name and address for the record.
Do I need to press the button? Okay. My name is Bill Baird with Baird Hampton Brown Engineers, and we're representing the Freeman Auto Group for this new Toyota dealership. There's quite a bit of history on this site. Mr. Freeman asked me to look at this property before he purchased it and give him my thoughts on, is this a good piece of property? What are the issues? And I said, well, it's a great piece of property from a visibility perspective, but it's a tough piece of property from a development perspective. If you're familiar with it, there's about 60 feet of fall across the property from the frontage road down to Harmon Road. There's a 150-foot electric easement with this giant transmission towers across the property, kind of the western third of it running diagonal southwest to northeast. There's no water, there's no sewer. It was not annexed, it was not zoned. I said, other than that, it's a great piece of property. But he decided this was the best location for his new Toyota dealership. Visibility, traffic, accessibility to every place in the Metroplex. And he's proceeded, we've proceeded with designing this tremendous new dealership. This is going to be a very big Toyota dealership. He has a current dealership in Hurst. When this one opens, it will be closed, and he will move his operations up to here. And it will be a much larger sales area, display area, much larger service area. We're designing this, I have a site plan up there, so that the shop area can be expanded back in the northwest corner. A lot of parking and so forth, and the reason for the variances, the request for PD was so it's just not conducive having birds flocking to your trees in a car parking lot and trying to keep them clean to sell cars. So that's why we don't want trees and so forth in the display parking lot. We're platting this as 2 lots. The Toyota dealership will be on the north lot called Lot 1, and it is about 20 acres. And then the south lot is called Lot 2, and it is for future development. He may develop it with another auto dealership, but he doesn't know yet. It's just a platted lot for future development. We are extending water and sewer, storm drainage. We have a private drive fire lane between the 2 lots that connects from the frontage road back to Harmon Road. I need to tell you something else. Whenever we looked at this property for his administration to begin with, we did some research, we realized that the entire front, he has 1,000 feet of frontage, was a denial of access from TxDOT, meaning you can't have a driveway to the frontage road. So we flagged that to him, said, this is an issue. You can't build this without access from the frontage road. So we dealt with TxDOT for close to a year, and we finally got driveway permits for 3 driveways. And we're building a right turn decel lane all across the frontage. This is a really major project, and it's going to be a real benefit to have this dealership come to Haslet. That's really all I have to say. If you have questions, I'm open to questions.
Okay, we will do that after we have the public hearing, but thank you very much for adding your comments. Great, at this time, we will open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak for or against? And recognizing there's nobody from the general public in the room and there's nobody online still, correct? All right, then we will go ahead and close the public hearing as there's nobody here to speak. We will go to discussion, consideration, and act. So if you could come forward, we do have a few questions. I think that you're probably going to require some discussion. So one of my biggest concerns, I completely understand the request for the not having any landscaping on the interior. That makes total sense to me. What I don't feel good about, though, under the plan development, is what's happening on the western boundary of that property. Harmon Road is one of the major access points into our city. There's going to be a public school right across the street from that. One of our nicest developments sits right across the street from that. And I really feel like the landscaping, the enhancement, the screening, you talked about expanding the service area even. I can assure you there's going to be cars parked along that backside of that property that are going to be out-of-service vehicles, maybe even crash-damaged vehicles. None of the public driving on Harmon Road should see any of that. So my expectation would be under this plan development that western boundary of this property be screened to the point where we couldn't tell there's a car dealership there other than by looking through the emergency access gate. So I feel like the plan development needs some work to get to a point where it's the right thing to do for the community over there.
Are you meaning a screening wall, a masonry wall, or are you meaning evergreen landscape buffer?
I think a greenscape buffer is much more attractive than a hard concrete or some solid wall structure. It can be a mix. You can put ornamental fencing to keep people from accessing the property, and then you have a green space with enhanced landscaping to shield the view.
Can you pull up the landscape plan that we submitted?
And I did look at that. I don't see enough there that doesn't have the density to help Or even the depth of
Go to the
green
next one,
space.
because I think the next plan is, yes, that one right there. Okay, we have, we're dedicating some right-of-way at the northwest corner, but we have, and this is approximate, we have about a 30-foot landscape buffer currently, width-wise. And we have trees and we have some shrubbery already planned there, but we can beef that up. I talked to the client to see if they would have any problems with beefing up the landscaping and putting in more evergreen shrubs like, big hollies or whatever that, and they said, yes, we can do that. So I would tell you that we are amenable to improving and beefing up the landscaping along Harmon Road.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is a fantastic project. Yet I just know parents are going to be coming and going every morning, dropping kids off to that elementary school that's going to be situated there, and the people that are coming in and coming out of our community that live here. There's a lot of green space along Harmon Road, and in the development of the Caraway project was really even developed for the purposes of maintaining that openness, greenscape feel. And I don't want to pull away from that feel that we were trying to create along Harmon Road when we approved that project back in 2016 or 2018, I forget the exact dates. So if we could do something that helps maintain that open, or at least that greenscape feel along that area, that would be exciting.
We can do that, and I will get with the landscape architect and Maurice. We will amend the landscaping along Harmon Road. I'm going to speak for Mr. Freeman here. He wants to have a dealership that is great looking and that everyone will be proud of, and we're willing to do additional screening there.
Okay, yeah, and
Although, I do want to say something here. We've done extensive geotechnical investigations here. The soil is very expansive, like 6 inches. Would not recommend a masonry wall here because with soil movement, it'll tear itself up.
yeah, I don't think those are attractive to begin with. I would rather see ornamental fencing like we did in the Caraway with green, plants and other things to enhance the look over there.
We have a great landscape architect, Dave Baldwin, and I'll get with Dave and the architect, and we'll revise that Harmon Road side.
Yeah, and if you'd like to look at the greenscape standards that are in that plan development for Caraway, we could make those available so you can just understand how we address that there.
Yes, Maurice will send that to me.
Okay, great. All right.
I have a concern about landscaping. Do you irrigate that landscaping?
Yes,
It
sir.
is irrigated?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
All
yeah,
right.
it's
'Cause I was
required.
gonna
It's
say,
a
we don't-
requirement.
I just want to make,
It will 100% die if you don't irrigate.
it would, yeah, okay.
I have one question as far as the path through. I actually live in the Caraway subdivision, and I know one of the things when I saw this design, I was looking at it, is it ensuring that it's not going to be more convenient for people to cut through your parking lot to get to the highway. So if that exit that allows you out on the frontage road is south of that on-ramp,
We've already heard this comment from the city.
okay, because I could just see a lot of people wanting to cut through your property.
We have a gate at the Harmon Road side, and we have a gate kind of midways of the building. They want to be able to have after-hours parts delivery, that kind of stuff, but it's gated in 2 places to prevent cut-throughs.
Okay, great, thank you.
I think the mayor made that comment.
Yeah, one of the reasons why we actually want it as a staff is for fire protection, because if you don't have a way to get in there in an emergency, you have to go all the way up to Haslet Parkway and back around to get to the site.
Yeah, like I said, my big concern, especially having all the kids in the area, getting to school, cutting through, because there's a new high school is going to be across the highway.
Yes.
And so having kids cut through the dealership to get to the, that was one of my big concerns.
We've got it covered.
All right, can we pull up the lighting plan that's included in this?
Photometrics, the one that called
Yep,
electric
the
photometrics.
fourth. All right. So I'm not an expert in this, but I can read the drawings and show where the lumen levels are, throughout the development, and then the spillover. What I'm most concerned about, and the lumen levels look great. I didn't see anything that was like really concerning when you start to approach the property boundaries. What I'm more concerned about is in the fixture types. Is everything I couldn't tell how tall these poles were, nor could I tell the shielding.
Sir, that's not my bailiwick. I don't know how tall the poles are. I'm sure the fixtures are shielded, but I can't address how tall the poles are.
Okay. Is that additional details that we could get added to the photometric information? Because my, we do. And so what I'm most concerned about, again, not how bright it is on the property, but how much of this light is going to be visible from a horizontal view. If I'm a resident over in the Caraway and I'm looking out across that drive, how much of that's going to be visible from a horizontal? Hopefully it's all shielded, so it's all downcasting and no side cast light, but I can't tell from just these little black and white boxes here what type of fixtures those are.
Zoom in tighter to some of these.
Yeah, and there's a bit of another exhibit that sits right, I think, right in front of this that shows a little bit about the fixture type, but it wasn't enough to. Yeah, this one. Yeah, there's some of it's on the outside. Some of it's wall packs that go around the outside of the building. Some of it's pole lights out on the property. But I would just like to have a little bit more information to tell me what these fixture types are so that we can see that they are shielded at the horizontal and all the lights downcast. I can't believe they would do anything where it's letting light spill upward, but just so that we can have a better understanding that at the horizontal, people aren't going to be blinded as they look off to the eastern.
Can I have a minute to call the client?
Absolutely. Could you go to the exhibit that sits right in front of this one? You're going to have to scan, because it's probably pan back out, but I think there was one more exhibit. So if you go back to that one. It may be the second page, not in the landscape. It's going to be in the electrical photometrics. Go to the next page then, if it's not that one.
While he's talking to the client, I just want to make some remarks about our lighting standards and our ordinance. It's far and few between, and to be truthful, they're not even required on a site plan. At this point, we're working on putting it in there so it's required on a site plan, but right now it's not.
Okay, and so the highest pole is 22 feet, is that what he said? Okay.
From the ground.
And then all of the wall pack units that are on the building structures, are they also shielded to be downcast light? Okay, and all perimeter lighting, all is pointed inward, there's no, based on the photometrics I saw, it looked like we were almost at 0 lumens once you get at the property boundary. Yeah, it is. It is. Okay. Yep. Thank you. Appreciate that information. But maybe if we could just get some actual pictures of the types of fixtures when we look at this, that would be, I think, good to see.
I can get that for you.
Okay. So I'm going to keep a few notes here.
In the general electric notes on this, item D, it says all pole-mounted fixtures located at or near the property lines shall have house side shields. Yeah, it's on their plans.
My pen's down. Sorry.
That's in their plans,
That's in there.
yes.
Thank you. Is there any other questions anybody has?
Glad to
Okay.
see it.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion that we continue agenda item 7A to our next meeting so that we can see the changes to the landscape plan, as well as get some renderings of that and get an exhibit that shows the actual light fixtures that are being proposed for the project. So I made a motion to continue to our next meeting.
I will second it.
Okay, there's a motion to continue. It's been seconded. All in favor? Do you understand what continuing means?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
My question, how does that affect, or do we have a running clock on this or anything?
On zoning cases, there's no running clock. On plats, which you'll see next item, there is a running clock on it.
Right, okay, thank you.
Okay.
I
Again,
don't- Yeah, I gotta come up. Why are we doing that? I mean, I would suggest just let them deal with, and they could bring that in at the next time if we wanted to. I mean, there's already a trailer out there. Yeah, these guys are already working. I mean, I think it's a fantastic plan myself. And if they, in fact, state
Okay.
on the plan that the poles are certain height and shielded, we know what the lumens are. I mean, that's what we're looking at. I mean, I don't care what the fixture looks like. They're all different. And they're gonna send you a typical anyhow. They're gonna go out and bid it and get what they get from the electrician.
you want my answer?
Yeah, I want your
Yeah,
answer.
yeah, because I think the citizens of this community deserve an approved plan development that respects what we tried to develop along Harmon Road, and we don't see that right now. And I'm not going to recommend approval until I see it. Now, that's my opinion,
Yeah, I understand that.
but we do have a motion, so,
Go ahead.
okay.
Get your vote.
All in favor? Okay, all opposed? One opposed, motion passes. We're continued to the next meeting. Okay, moving on, we have agenda item 7B, discuss, consider, and act regarding the approval of a final plat of the Freeman Toyota Haslet Edition lots 1 and 2, Block 1. We're going to begin with our staff presentation.
Chairman and members of the board, this is concerning the thing we just looked at, and like Mr. Baird said, it contains two lots. There's a north lot, which has about 20 acres, which is planned for the Freeman Toyota site, and then there's the south, which will be a future either a general commercial development or perhaps even another automobile dealership, which would fit in that same category. And this has been reviewed by our engineer, and there's a letter that's attached that's been prepared by our city engineer and recommending that we go ahead and pass this. You know, the plat can be passed without necessarily having the zoning. And I think what the Freeman Toyota Group is wanting to do is get the plat going so they can actually start on their dirt work, because they have, I think, you might say, about 6 months worth of dirt work out there to do. So they would like to proceed with that portion of it.
Okay. And would you like to add anything additional to that this evening?
I think I've told you everything there is to tell you about this project.
All right, super, thank you. And so at this time, we can go to discussion. There is no public hearing on this. So just to confirm, once we approve this, this does not hold them up with us continuing the agenda item 7A. If we approve 7B, they're able to continue with that, all of that.
They can
grading
continue.
work.
They continue with their engineering work that they have.
Yep.
However, the zoning will be something where they can't go start building
They
things
can't build until, okay.
until it's zoned.
Let me offer one thing. We have started moving dirt. We have a grading permit from the city. We cannot begin the utility work, the underground work, until the plat is approved.
Yep.
So we can, yes, there's a lot of dirt to be moved out here, but we need the plat approved so we can begin underground work.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, any questions on the plat? Hopefully everybody looked at it closely, understands what's being proposed there. Okay, is there a motion? recommend the city council approve.
Okay, I make a motion that we recommend to the city council the approval of the final plat of Freeman Toyota of Haslet Edition Lots 1 and 2, Block 1.
Okay, there's a motion to recommend city council approves the Lot 1 and Lot 2, Block 1 for the Freeman Toyota Haslet Edition plat. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion been seconded. All in favor? Okay, motion passes unanimously. So do I need to give you my notes on what we, for the PD item, do you need a recap of what we said there?
Yeah, you can give them to me, but I'm pretty sure I know what they are.
Okay. And you want me to give them to you now, or how do you want me to give those to you?
Just email them to me.
I will do that. Thank you. Okay. Moving on. Thank you very much for being here, sir. We appreciate you.
Very much. We'll be back.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on, we have our subcommittee discussion topics. So for our subcommittee team of two, did we have anything that you guys have discovered with discussions with any city staff?
We haven't had a meeting yet.
Okay.
Somebody I know has been gone on vacation for a month or two.
All right. Well, I have been in contact with the mayor over the last 30 days on a number of things that have my interest, and I would like to make sure that we're focusing on. Probably the biggest two that I'm looking at right now is the continuity of development along Haslet Parkway and the standards along that area with the residential and with the airport facilities. There's got to be some compatibility of those two uses. And so how we set some guidelines for that should be considered. The other thing that I am and have been very concerned about for a long time is the paving standards that are used in our city. I don't feel like we have good standards, and I don't feel like even the standards that we have are enforced. So when I look at TxDOT and I look at the standards that are in the TxDOT materials under Chapter 11, ride quality, there's so much about ride quality in those standards. How you measure ride quality. Ride quality is how rough is the road after it's paved, the variation in the elevations of the road. And there's standards on how you measure that. There's nothing in our standards to measure ride quality. So if you drive down Westport Parkway, you know what poor ride quality looks like. That developer should have never been able to walk away from that project. That should have been measured. They should have been held accountable, payment withheld, and forced to repave that road because there's no way it even comes close to TxDOT standards.
You don't like that.
You do? And so anyways, I think that this is an area that, when you look at our responsibilities as planning and development within the city of Haslet, this is one of those ordinances, because these guidelines are all covered under an ordinance within the city. I think that this is one of them that we should take a hard look at. When every time somebody comes in and does a utility cut in a road, and they put a poor patch on that road, that affects ride quality. Go down 156 south to the south. You hit a major hole in the road where somebody cut the road, and they weren't held accountable to repairing it so that there was a smooth transition from the two edges of the cut. And so we have the opportunity to look at that ordinance and apply greater standards to paving, and hopefully future administrations of the city hold these developers and these companies that are contractors accountable to the standards that we publish. So I have asked that this be on our agenda for our October meeting to review those ordinances with the possibility of recommending a change to city council. Okay? And I could send you guys links to like the whole TxDOT standard. Well, that's what's, if you look at almost every city, that's what they refer to. I looked at South Lake, I looked at Plano, I looked at several other cities to see what standards they use. And it all goes back to TxDOT standards. Even hardness of the road, compaction levels, hot mix types, hard surfaces, soft surfaces, everything. Even down to, like stone roads, there's a compaction for all that.
All right,
So that's one that's got my interest.
I've never seen that. All the road I've done over the years,
Yeah.
never seen that, but that's so, all right.
So is there any area that you guys think you might look at first?
We haven't even started, we haven't even talked about meeting yet.
Okay.
So, I thought maybe the mayor came up with some ideas, you've come up with ideas, I mean, these are things that, I mean, it's what I want to do. Where do we want to go?
Yeah.
And you've just thrown out a couple of things, you said the continuity of development along the Parkway. I'm not sure what we have much to do with that, but we can.
Yeah.
We've already irritated all of the people in Caraway. Haslet Parkway. On
Yeah,
the
well, I'm
south
trying not to do that twice.
On
That's
the
why
south
you, that's,
side- On the south side, we certainly have.
Yeah.
We've already irritated people there. We were forced into doing that. We didn't have a choice.
yeah. Yeah, the use of our green space or public facilities or, like parks and open space, that might be something we want to look at.
Well, we had a park dedicated in, wasn't there? I don't know what, all the way to the north end of that?
Yeah, there's some
I don't know.
trails.
I don't know
There's
what-
trail
no
dedication.
trail. Where the trail, there was supposed to be continuity of trails. Any of that stuff, since they started to put it all together.
Yep, so that might be an area we want to look at.
But, all right, well, we'll look at, ride quality is always an issue. I mean, practically every road that gets built, a TxDOT road, and then you're paying twice as much for a road as we want to build.
Yeah, but most cities have a ride quality requirement, and here's how they measure
Okay, well, you've seen
it. Over 10 feet of road measured with a straight edge, the road can't vary more than a quarter inch.
Yeah.
That's the general standard.
And that's pretty general. Anyhow.
All right,
If the city has good pavement standards and I don't know what we have.
it's like an exhibit. It's like a couple of drawings. Yeah, it's not much.
I don't know.
It's not
We
much.
don't build a lot of roads around here. We just in the subdivision.
Yeah, I'll get with the city engineer and have him look at that. Yep.
See what
Yeah,
Mike-
and
talk to Mike
if they could just email out to the planning and zoning that ordinance that covers that everybody has. We can go online and get it, but make sure we look at the same thing. Would that be possible?
Sure.
Okay, thank you very much.
And also, I could talk to Mike too, but if they have any thoughts on improving our standards, and I did understand, weren't we talking about the roads in Caraway or in Sweetgrass?
There's Sweetgrass. There's a bunch of roads being rebuilt.
Falling apart.
Yeah, they had to tear them out and they're rebuilding them.
So they are doing that.
Yes. Well, and this is one of those things where at the time when those roads were first engineered and done, it was a different engineer that we have, and than what we have now. And when those roads were built, they didn't build them to the right standards, and they didn't do a lot of subsoil research. They didn't follow plans very well.
Well, that's the big problem. I mean, if your foundation is any good, those roads aren't going to last. I don't care, what you put in there. But if we have pitiful standards, we're building them everywhere like that. So, we better look at them. But it's a little late with all of this.
Yeah. Well, we start with pitiful soil first
All
off.
that, and when you have tough soil, then there's ways to treat soil.
Absolutely.
And there's different treatments for different types of soil, clay or sandy or whatever, and rock.
So,
How many more roads we have to
so you made a comment during agenda item 7A about lighting ordinances, lighting standards. And that was on our list of 5. Is
Yeah,
there-
it's one of those things where on the photometric plans and things like that, it's not even required for site plan approval, but I've been asking them to do that because I know you guys want to see it. And so they've been providing them. But right now, the way our ordinance reads, the only time that you actually have to do any lighting plans is on the preliminary plat, and no city in Texas does that. And I don't know why it's in our ordinance. And I've actually asked some people who are revising the subdivision rules and regulations to take that out and put it in the zoning ordinance. And we're going to be doing some zoning work and this will go with that, where we actually institute some lighting standards that are really good. Because right now, we don't have that.
Yeah, they're really generic, and, you know, the fact that people can use 55-foot tall poles for lights is just, you know, that should go away, right? So what's the timing for getting some of those things rewritten and where we could actually take a look at it and make a recommendation to city council for a change?
Well, with this list that we have here, it's going to be sped up.
Okay.
And so we need to get our committee together and get a good date that everybody can meet with and start looking at those things. Nobody at this point.
Is that something you guys would like to try to tackle in October?
get anything. We can bring all that stuff to a meeting. We just need to get together and start. I mean, you can't do everything.
Yeah, even if both of you can't meet at the same time with maybe some of the city staff, if one of you can, to get, keep the ball rolling on some of these things?
I have asked Belchef, and they've actually provided me a sample lighting ordinance from another municipality. So it'd be a good place to start with.
Yeah.
So.
And this falls right into that compatible use thing, right? You got airport facilities on the north side of Haslet Parkway, and you got residential on the south side. Do you really want a warehouse with 55-foot light poles right across the street from a neighborhood? And so that compatibility stuff. Well, doesn't mean it's smart. It doesn't mean we should do more of it.
Yeah.
What's the zoning over there on
Well, we can pull up a drawing, but the maximum height that anybody can do right now is 35 foot.
I thought there was oh, because that's that's airport facilities, right? But I thought
No, that's pretty much the height for any structure or anything in town.
I think if you go look at UPS on 156, I bet those poles are 55 feet, and I'm pretty sure I remember reading that when we reviewed that.
Well, that's a different animal when you say
is
U.S.
us.
postal system, U.S. government. They do what they want to do.
Well, but still, somebody could come in on the north side of on Haslet Parkway.
35 foot then.
And is that because of the airport?
Not necessarily, because there are bans. Could I get a dongle? Let me just pull up the zoning map and
Yeah,
show you some things on.
Well, let's just pull up our lighting ordinance too, because I'm pretty sure it says 55 feet.
What did
30,
those wouldn't be
35.
at the most, I would think. These here in Freeman are 20, 22.
Yeah, I was super happy to see that
That's all
number.
But they're really trying to just get light brought down on their cars, is what they want.
Thank you.
They don't want to light up the whole building.
I'll find this ordinance.
Okay, this is the zoning map that I've got up here. And there are several things that come into play. First off, there's a blue line that you can see that goes around here. That's the limits of the development zone for the airport. And that has some standards in it. And then there's this hatched area over here on the right. And within that area, signs, that has to do with signs, can be up to 35 foot in height. If you get beyond that, the highest a sign can be is 6 foot. And that'd be a ground sign. Huh? This hatched area.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there are some other lines that are on the zoning map. And these are the arcs that you see here, several places, and that's a measurement from mean sea level of how tall a structure can be. And on our zoning map, there are some notes regarding that. You have some areas right around the airport, and then as you move out, you have these arcs that give you some elevations that you can rise to, and the numbers are right on the lines. This can be up to 865 mean sea level, and this is 1,065. It's 200 foot more. But that has nothing to do with our limits of our sign ordinance. It has to do with the airport itself. That's correct. That's correct. Now, as far as land uses along and that's along Haslet Parkway, which is right here, there's a variety of land uses that are associated. We have industrial as we get up in this part. We have some planned development, some agricultural, and then on the south side we have some PD, which is where those three buildings are being built right now. And then we have some other commercial land, and this is going to be a church right here. And then we have some big floodplains that are actually in this area that go up through here that eats up a lot of this land. So, those things, the land uses can be controlled, but there's some areas that are basically out of the bag already as far as land uses, like the industrial up here on the western side of it. But under this, where this green is, agricultural, and so it does not have a permanent zoning classification, and when that comes in, you have a lot of control over it.
I bet if you go back to our old overlays, all of those light pole heights, fixture types, that was all in those overlays. I don't see it in our ordinance anymore.
Somebody it was before me, somebody took all those overlays out, and we had to go back and put one back in, which is the one for the signs. But that was the only one that we put back in. All those other overlays went away.
Well, I would encourage us not to go back to a blank sheet of paper and start to write this. I would go back and look at some of those overlays, because there was some really good stuff written in there about lighting. But I know the airport facilities lighting was allowed to be a lot higher than what it was in like the commercial and retail areas. Yeah. Yeah, we were here when we wrote those standards. Yeah, we wrote those standards. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I say, somebody got rid of all that stuff probably about, 5 or 6 years ago?
Oh, probably mid-teens, somewhere around there, maybe, even. But I would just say, let's try to go back to some of those things, again, so that we have compatibility. We wouldn't want even 35-foot light poles across the street from the neighborhood would still throw horizontal lighting. Those people looking out their windows to the north, they're going to see that light directly. Whether it's shielded or not, they're still going to see it. It's because of the heights of the fixtures. Mm-hmm. And so we just need to be smart about that kind of stuff. Those people deserve us to do a good job with that kind of stuff. Yeah, exactly. And think if it's all lit up with 35-foot tall poles.
I mean, just all of that stuff, all along. Yeah.
Okay, anything else on our subcommittee discussion? So we'll look at lighting, we'll look at streets, or we'll look at paving.
Well, let me ask a quick question. You know, there's 5 items, and those are very big topics. We ought to probably prioritize those and say, this is one we want to do first, second, third. Okay, we'll go ride quality as number one.
That may be an easy one to knock off because there's so much already written on that topic. Yeah. So lighting is probably an easy one to knock off. I think we need to know more about kind of what the vision is for the city before we can really do a lot of work on the whole city facilities and public works solution. I don't know that collectively we all have enough of that vision and even what the options are for that. But that's a big one that I think we need to tackle. That would be the big one in my book.
I understand our concept of all the land that we bought over here off the school road, and that proposal that was sent forward got kicked out, unapproved, or just cast aside, or whatever. So right now, are there lots on that property?
There are thoughts by several different individuals, and they're not all the same.
They're not on
Yeah.
the same page, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So right now, we have property we bought, which is on the south end of a lot of that industrial right there, that is on both sides of the fence.
Yeah, if you can let me have the screen back again.
Yeah, that's kind of maybe goes into how do we look at the open space and the public facility, the public facilities and things like that.
Yeah, this property right here, it goes up here, then it comes across, up and back. So it's got actually 3 different zoning classifications on it, and it's also got 3 wells.
The one with a half arrow?
Yes.
Okay.
Now
That's
it's,
the one.
yeah. But it goes all the way over to Schoolhouse Road, then back over.
Was that the one you were talking about?
Yes, and I know the mayor had, I think he got that accomplished. I don't know if it's been executed or not. Do you
I
know?
thought we saw that. Yeah.
You don't know?
I thought we saw that.
What? Did it got approved?
I thought we did it here.
Did we? Was that brought to us and we approved it?
I think we recommended approval of it, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I forget, again, where was that? I don't remember.
Well, the idea was to take and just square this off and then actually trade it for property down here so that our property would have frontage on Haslet Parkway. Because the way it is right now, is there's no frontage on,
Yeah, we had no way to access it on the
Right.
back.
yeah, Hillwood has owned all that in here, and this was just jutting up into their land.
It was a land swap, I think. Okay, does that give us enough to work on? At least for the next 30 days? Okay.
Matthew needed more.
All right, anything we need to know about October?
Well, we had one item that didn't quite make it here, and that was R&L Carriers. It was going to be on your agenda tonight, and that's a tract that's on Harmon Road, Old Harmon Road, and just to the east of where Main Freight is located.
Okay,
But they had a couple little issues that they had to resolve before we actually got it on the agenda. It was published and notified in the paper, but then we had to pull it.
Okay.
Is that warehouse?
It's a warehouse
It's
facility.
a cross-dock facility.
Is that the one we had all of the opposition?
No,
No,
Oh, that's a different.
different one. This is one sits right at, call it the south side of Westport Parkway and on the west, in the west side of Harmon.
yeah, if you go back to the, let me have that screen again. It's this track right here. It's these two tracks.
That's what the one you're saying that is next? Because the
Next.
other one's on the other side of the road.
That's the one
Yeah.
on the east side of.
Yeah, the east side of Harmon.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Across the street from the other. Right.
Yeah, right across the street from Main Freight.
Yeah, I got you.
And there's no improvement plans for Harmon Road, right?
Well, when they come in with this, it has been improved. Main Freight improved quite a bit of that. Yeah, all the way down to theirs.
To their
And
property.
if these people, if it gets through and everything comes to fruition, they'll do some more improvements to Harmon. And as development comes, they'll keep on working. And
But currently, the road is not built to handle truck traffic to the south.
no,
And that-
in fact, all the driveways, per this commission was,
Right.
to
All
force it
northbound.
north. Force it north. And we're following through with that.
Look at Main Line, that's kind of, it's not, it didn't seem to be where it was built so that it forced them to the north, but that's.
They're all
I
curved.
understand what you're saying, I
Yeah.
just say that can't go to the south anyway.
Yeah.
The trucks can't make,
If you take a truck down there, you just get.
the trucks can't make that right-hand turn. If they do, they're gonna go over landscape, boulders, and everything else.
Okay, anything else? So we continued an item, we know we're gonna see that.
Yes.
So we might see this other
Yes.
one on Harmon Road. Anything else that we need to be thinking about?
Well, there are some other things that are coming down the pipeline that I really can't speak to you.
Okay,
Tell you
any
what they are.
ordinances we should read up on and be ready for those discussions, or?
No.
Okay.
I mean, is there anything more on that warehouse that we had opposition to off of Keller Haslet, I guess, Keller Haslet?
Yeah, it went to the city council, and that was on this tract right here.
Yeah,
It's in the extraterritorial jurisdiction.
and we approved it here. didn't we?
Approved the plat. There could be a little bit of a snag right now, and so we don't know quite what's going to happen.
Yeah, we recommended approval with some revisions to the development agreement, and whether that actually got handled.
Is there anything that, is anybody even addressed the junk pile, the old batch plant that's on the northwest corner of Keller Haslet and Harmon Road? They built a new batch plant just north of that, and you've got a to the south of it. Is that the same owner?
No,
A Keller
It is.
Haslet and where?
Keller Haslet and Harmon,
Keller Hicks?
the northwest.
right next to the right, just to the south side of the water tower.
There's a new batch plant. And then you've got that old rust bucket batch plant. And I know it's not an RETJ stuff. I just wondered.
Yeah, if it's south of Keller Hicks, if it's north of Keller Hicks, it's in our extraterritorial jurisdiction.
You haven't heard anything on that, Mike? I mean, it is a rust bucket. I mean, it's an eyesore.
Yeah, it'll know.
But you think that's two different owners?
I don't know about the ownership of it, but that whole area is outside our jurisdiction as far as what we can do from a land use standpoint or code enforcement.
All right,
Maybe I'll just write a personal name.
A nasty gram?
what time do you show on your clock? What time do you show on your clock? All right. We going to adjourn our meeting, our regular meeting at the time is 7:29 PM. Thank you. And if you would, make sure you sign your.
This conference
oaths
is
of
no
office
longer
before
being
you
recorded.
leave. Could I borrow your pen? My pen died before I ever even got started tonight.
Yeah.